Hi guys, this is Jeff from Adirondack Woodsman. Today I'm out here in the greenhouse and I am going to begin a project where I'm making 4 shelves for my closet up at camp. I'm making them out of maple. They're going to be 16 inches deep and roughly 40 inches wide. So I'm using the maple because I figure it'll be, you know, much stronger than using pine, which I've used pretty much everywhere in the camp, but it'll also match the pine pretty nice. So hope you enjoyed today's video, and let me know by hitting like and subscribe. So I've got all this maple planed down. I've actually got some more over there that's kind of extra. I'm not sure how many I'm going to need. I'm probably going to have 3 shelves that I'm going to be building. And I need them to be 16 inches wide. These are 8-inch boards, but I'm probably going to lose a little bit on some of them. You can see on here there's a little bit of bark and whatnot, which isn't a big deal. And I've got some that I'm going to cut down that, if I can get a picture one, like the one down here, I should be able to get like, I don't know, maybe 6 inches out of this board. But what I want to do is, the next step is really to put a good edge on them, so I'm going to use my my jet joiner that I bought used. Obviously, I measured wrong. So this should get 8 3/4. This is set to, I'm sorry, 7 3/4. Get this set to 7 3/4, but for some reason, I didn't take anything off. Now, 7 3/4 is a little loose, so I'm going to cut that down to 7 1/2. Hopefully we'll get something this time. The next one I have is 6 1/4. That one I know I got. per inch. So I guess I'm going to do that one more time. Hard to believe I have a master's in math. I didn't know it by today. There we go, 16 inches. So that's good. So that'll be our first shelf. Okay, so I actually have 4 pieces for this last shelf. I really didn't want to have to edge another board, and some of them I can almost get what I needed out of, but not quite. So we'll lay this out like this when we go to put them together. And everything's going to be biscuit joined, so it shouldn't be an issue. So what I've done is I've clamped up my first set of boards. This is the one that is the last one I did. It has two smaller boards and 2 larger boards. And I don't really got to worry about it being perfect on the ends, because I've got to trim that up at the end, because I did those trim the end cuts prior to having it gone through the joiner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make sure that my biscuits line up. I'm not going to have a biscuit here and a biscuit here, because then I'm going to be cutting into the same section of the board. So I'm going to alternate on that end. So I'll start by, and basically what I'm doing is I'm making marks so that once I take this apart, this is just holding it together temporarily, I will have the marks and I'll know exactly where the center of the biscuit joiner is supposed to go. So down here doesn't really matter. I'm going to make sure I get one on the end. And then I'll stagger that in a little bit. Maybe that one will go. Let's see. I'll probably go this way a little bit. And then the one down here. I'll put on the end as well. So I think I'm going to space, let's see, maybe every 8 inches should be good, because once again I'm going to edge glue it as well. So I'm just going to go down, let's see, I got 41 inches. I'm going to be cutting some of it off. So let's say, yeah, if I do every 8 inches, then I should be right around 5 of them, or 6 of them. know where my marks are. Now I can start joining. Okay guys, so today I'm going to spend some time just doing my biscuit, using my biscuit joiner to join these boards together. I've completed one set for the shelving. I've got one over there that a second one that I completed that I've already got glued up and sanded down to 80 grit. I just wanted to see how well it did in the drum sander, but we'll show you how that works. But basically what you do is you line up all of your boards, all three of them in this case, and you make a pencil mark. I've made a pencil mark every 8 inches. You can use whatever measurement you want. I'm going to put a best at every 8 inches. When I did my table up at my camp, I was using a 2x type material, so I used 2 biscuits in every section just to make sure I had the strength I needed. And then once I get the biscuit cut out, I got to clear out the actual the dust or the shavings from inside. And then what I'll do is when they're all cut and cleaned, I'll put some glue in the slot for the biscuit. I'll put the biscuits in, and I also put glue I'll edge glue it as well, so I have a nice good fit when I'm done. When I line up the boards, I also line them up, and I line up all 3, and I make the pencil mark, and I also label each board where they're joining 1 and 2, so I know where it's going to join later on. The pencil marks are all going to come off in the sanding phase anyways, so it's not a big deal. After they're all glued up, what I do is I put them through my drum sander. You could use an orbital sander. I just happen to have a drum sander. That's what I'm using. You can't plane them again because, once again, now I'm up to 16 inches. So once I get to 16 inches, my planer will no longer handle that. I think I can go up to 12 and a half or something like that. So let's get started. It's good to brush away the sawdust before you go to your next one, so you're not changing the height of your biscuit. So you can see the nice joint that ends up getting created by the biscuit joiner, and nice clean. You got to clean all of the dust, the sawdust out of there to make sure your biscuit's going to fit in cleanly. So I get a little bit of rip out right there, but it's not a big deal. I'm just kind of making sure I'm picking it out so that it's not going to hang up at all when I go to bind the boards together, glue them up. So I've got my boards joined. You got to make sure that you keep them in the same position you had and don't flip them over, because even though you try to get in the center, and there's a mark for getting in the center of the board, it may not always be 100%. You can see it doesn't look 100% aligned, so you got to make sure that your boards stay the same way. So I'm trying to be careful here that I don't try to do too much and then have boards that are unaligned here. So these are the biscuits I'm using. I'm not sure what they are. They're probably like 1.5 inches, 2 inches maybe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue in the slots. This is going to align with this inside both sides, and then I'll try to put those together. I'll do the same with those other 2 boards, and I'm going to try to it's going to be a little tough because I got a lot to align here. I'm going to be able to try to get all 4 boards at once, because some of these boards you got to do 2 sides, but that way I can kind of clamp it all together with my parallel clamps. I've got some other ones I'll throw on there too, but let's see what we end up with. So the biscuit joiner basically has I don't know if you can see it, a red mark right there, and that's used to line up so you get a nice level cut. Anything else I want to say about that? No, I guess not. that board's done. When I get done now, I go like that to get the bunch of the shavings out, but there's still be some stuck in there. And I use a putty knife to make sure I got them all clean, because when I go to join it, I'm going to want to make sure that I don't have anything in there, or my biscuit's not going to go in all the way. Nothing like finding that out when you are in the glue phase. Okay. This board is actually going to be done on both sides. So, because this is so narrow, you just make sure after I do the first pass on the one side, and when I go to the other side, I try to make sure that you want to make sure that when you clamp it down, you're not clamping where the previous biscuit was cut, because I don't want to break the board there. It's still pretty strong, but you never know. I'll have to adjust these clamps a couple times, because now I got a narrow board. It's going to kind of be in the way. Okay, we can get rid of the biscuit joiner because we're all done with it now. Okay, so we're ready for a glue up of one of these panels. I've only got enough clamps to kind of do, I could do it more than one at a time, but I've already got one done, and I'm going to do one tonight, and then I'll do one sometime tomorrow. Board's got a little bit of a warp, and I'm hoping that once we clamp it up, it'll take some of that out. Whatever it doesn't take out, when I go through the actual drum sander, it's going to kind of probably even some of that stuff out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of set my boards here. I've got the one in the middle. Whoops, dropped my glue. The one in the middle, I've got to do both sides. So what I'm probably going to do is get my edge glue, put some glue in the grooves on the other two, and then I'll put my biscuits in those, and then I just have to, I can lay them back down. I can just put the glue into the middle board. There's really not a perfect way of doing this. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the biscuits in here, get the second board on, put the biscuits in the glue on the edges for that one, and then I'll put the last board on. So I'm using this little glue tray by Rockler. It's made out of silicone, and the brush too. It makes it really nice for cleanup, so you don't have to worry about figuring out how you're going to get it all off your hands and everything else. Okay. Using Tight Bond glue, but you can use whatever your favorite is. So it's getting a little empty. Try to put enough into the slot, but not so much that it's all going to just be squeezing out of the cracks. So I have less to worry about cleanup. And once again, you want to put enough on the edging. I'm going to brush this out when I get it applied. So you got a good edge bond as well. Got it running down the edge of the board already. Okay. Throw the biscuits in. I don't know what size these are. Like, it's the biggest one I've got, so I think it's, well, it looks like 1.5 inches maybe. Had this joiner for a while, so you no longer remember. Okay, so I'm going to move this board back just a little bit. And I want to go with this edge next. I know you guys can't see, but you know what glue looks like, so. Okay, so now that's the bottom. To make sure I got the right side up. And marks this side. Lay this down just to get it together. There we go. We're all lined up there. So I will do the last piece before we clamp it. Okay, gotta go get some more paper towels. Okay, I'll work on getting, as I tighten these up and add more clamps, I'm gonna get the glue out from in between. Less stuff to have to worry about when you're finish up with the sanding. I'll be flipping this up afterwards in order to get the other side. What I'm going to do now is tip this up carefully. It worked in rehearsal. Get my glue from the underside as much as I can. It just makes, like I said, the next stage much easier. And you get less glue on your actual drum sander belt, so they last a little longer too. Okay, we're all glued up. We'll let that set overnight and get back to it in the morning. Actually, I'll probably let it go for a day. Okay, so it's been about 24 hours. I'm out in the greenhouse. It's raining, so you probably hear that in the background. But this is all glued up and been sitting, so I'm going to remove all the clamps, and then we'll get on to the next phase, preparing it for sanding. So I've got my my shelve here on my, it actually fits on my sled for my table saw. So we're going to fire the table saw up, trim the one edge off, and then I've got to measure how long my shelf needs to be, and I've only got about ½ inch of to play with here. So let's get going. Okay, so I'm gonna try making the second cut now. I've measured. I've got a little bit of offset on inside my walls, and so really I'm gonna try to do is 39.5 inches here and 39.25. So I'm gonna give this a shot. Hopefully it'll work. You can see I got a gap here. I'm gonna try to put a taper onto this using my sled. I've got it secured down here. I'm going to hold it with my hand, and hopefully this will cut nicely. I got 39.75, which is what I wanted on the bottom or on the front. And on the back here, I've got 39.5, which is about what I was looking for. So that should work out good. Okay, so now we're going to cut up some cleats for the shelving. Okay, now I'm going to remove my sled. I might put the blade down a little bit. Remove my sled, and I'm going to get ready to rip. Before I rip these for cleats, these two here, I'm going to put this back on. I made the mistake once of not having this on. I didn't used to use it, and the problem is I had a piece of plywood that ended up kicking back on me. It must be I had cut it and then I pushed it up against the fence more, and oh my god, it came right back and nailed me. And so it's very dangerous. This is not a, what do they call it? There's a the new style for them now, but this at least will prevent, once the board gets cut, it will catch into here, and it prevents it from going side to side at all. So we're going to put that on as a safety. Okay, so we're going to make these all 1 inch. It's going to be a little tight, but we'll get it done. Hey guys, thanks for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed the maple shelf build that we had for our closet up at camp. We had part 1 today, and hopefully any day now we'll have part 2 coming out showing you the completed project. So once again, thanks for watching, and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Appreciate you guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.